Section 334.10a of the 2020 National Electrical Code, or NEC, specifies that shielded non-metallic sheath cable shall not be installed where exposed to direct rays of the sun. However, if the trailers have skirts, as stated, then that will provide protection for the non-metallic cable. Article 334 of the NEC permits non-metallic cable in outdoor locations where installed as part of a manufactured building in accordance with Section 334.10. Where a manufactured building is connected to a service entrance and the cables are installed outside the manufactured building, Article 550 shall apply. In this scenario, there is no service entrance to the trailers, so Article 550 would not apply. Considering the provisions outlined in the NEC, the installation of non-metallic cable under the trailers is permissible, provided it is adequately protected from direct sunlight exposure. This protection is afforded by the presence of trailer skirts. The NEC addresses the use of non-metallic cable in outdoor locations, specifically within manufactured buildings, as detailed in Section 334.10. This section allows for such installations under certain conditions. Furthermore, Article 550 addresses situations where a manufactured building is connected to a service entrance, and cables are installed outside the building. However, Article 550 is not applicable in this case. The key factor determining the permissibility of installing non-metallic cable under the trailers is the protection it receives from direct sunlight. The trailer skirts effectively provide this protection, satisfying the requirements outlined in Section 334.10a. Therefore, with the skirts in place, the installation aligns with the guidelines of the NEC. It's important to ensure that the skirts completely shield the non-metallic cable from direct sunlight. Any gaps or openings that allow sunlight to reach the cable would potentially violate the code. Regular inspections should be conducted to verify the continued effectiveness of the skirts in providing adequate protection. The NEC is the primary reference for electrical installations, and adhering to its guidelines ensures safety and compliance. Installers and inspectors should consult the latest edition of the NEC for the most up-to-date information and requirements. It is permissible to install non-metallic cable under the trailers as long as it is protected from the direct rays of the sun. This determination is based on a careful reading of the relevant sections of the NEC, specifically Section 334.10 and 550. Non-metallic cable is a common type of electrical wiring used in residential and commercial buildings. It consists of two or more insulated conductors enclosed in a non-metallic sheath. Non-metallic cable is typically used for branch circuits, which are circuits that supply power to outlets, lights, and appliances. It is important to follow the NEC guidelines when installing non-metallic cable to ensure a safe and compliant installation. The NEC is a comprehensive set of standards that covers all aspects of electrical installations. It is updated every 3 years to reflect changes in technology and best practices. The NEC is enforced by local authorities, such as building inspectors, and failure to comply with the NEC can result in fines or other penalties. When installing non-metallic cable under a temporary construction trailer, it is important to consider the following factors. Firstly, the cable must be protected from physical damage. This can be achieved by running the cable through a conduit or other protective enclosure. Secondly, the cable must be properly supported. This can be achieved by using cable ties or other fasteners to secure the cable to the trailer frame. Thirdly, the cable must be properly grounded. This can be achieved by connecting the cable's grounding conductor to a grounding electrode, such as a ground rod or metal water pipe. Fourthly, the cable must be protected from moisture. This can be achieved by using a waterproof cable connector or by sealing the cable entry points with a sealant. Fifthly, the cable must be protected from sunlight. This can be achieved by using a sunlight-resistant cable or by shielding the cable from direct sunlight. In this case, the trailer skirts will provide the necessary protection from sunlight. However, it is important to ensure that the skirts are properly installed and maintained. If the skirts are damaged or missing, the non-metallic cable will be exposed to direct sunlight, which could violate the NEC. It is also important to note that the NEC may have other requirements for the installation of non-metallic cable under a temporary construction trailer. Therefore, it is always best to consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector before beginning any electrical work. A qualified electrician will be able to assess the specific conditions of the installation and ensure that all NEC requirements are met. In addition to the NEC, there may be other local codes or regulations that apply to the installation of non-metallic cable under a temporary construction trailer. It is important to check with the local authorities to determine if there are any additional requirements. By following the NEC guidelines and any other applicable codes or regulations, it is possible to safely and legally install non-metallic cable under a temporary construction trailer. The key is to ensure that the cable is properly protected from physical damage, supported, grounded, protected from moisture, and protected from sunlight. The trailer skirts can provide the necessary protection from sunlight, but it is important to ensure that they are properly installed and maintained. A qualified electrician can help ensure that all NEC requirements are met and that the installation is safe and compliant. The NEC provides specific guidelines for the installation of electrical wiring in various locations and applications. These guidelines are designed to ensure the safety of people and property. When installing non-metallic cable, it is important to follow all applicable NEC requirements. This includes using the correct size and type of cable, properly supporting the cable, and making sure the cable is properly grounded. It also includes protecting the cable from physical damage and environmental factors such as moisture and sunlight. The NEC also provides guidelines for the installation of electrical equipment such as outlets, switches, and light fixtures. It is important to follow these guidelines to ensure that the equipment is properly installed and that it operates safely. When working with electricity, it is always important to take precautions to protect yourself from electric shock. This includes wearing appropriate personal protective equipment, such as gloves and safety glasses, and making sure that the power is turned off before working on any electrical equipment. It is also important to be aware of the potential hazards associated with electricity, such as arc flash and electrocution. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, it is best to hire a qualified electrician to do the work. A qualified electrician has the training and experience to safely and properly install electrical wiring and equipment. They can also help you ensure that your electrical system meets all applicable codes and regulations. When choosing an electrician, it is important to select someone who is licensed and insured. This will protect you in case of any accidents or injuries that may occur during the work. It is also a good idea to get multiple bids from different electricians before making a decision. This will allow you to compare prices and services. Once you have chosen an electrician, be sure to get a written contract that outlines the scope of work, the price, and the payment terms. This will help protect you in case of any disputes that may arise during the project. The NEC is a valuable resource for anyone who is involved in electrical work. By following the NEC guidelines, you can help ensure that your electrical system is safe, reliable, and compliant with all applicable codes and regulations. The temporary nature of the construction trailer setup does not exempt it from adhering to electrical safety standards and code compliance. While the duration of the installation is a factor to consider, it does not supersede the fundamental requirements for safe electrical practices. The NEC prioritizes safety regardless of the length of time an installation is intended to be in place. The potential hazards associated with electrical systems remain the same whether the installation is temporary or permanent. Therefore, all applicable NEC requirements must be met to mitigate these hazards and ensure the safety of personnel and equipment. The fact that the trailers are joined together to create a larger office complex reinforces the need for strict adherence to electrical codes. The increased occupancy and activity within the combined trailers elevates the potential risks associated with electrical malfunctions or hazards. Therefore, it is crucial to ensure that the electrical installation is safe, reliable, and compliant with all applicable requirements. The use of trailer skirts to protect the non-metallic cable from direct sunlight is a practical solution that aligns with the intent of the NEC. However, it is important to ensure that skirts are properly installed and maintained to provide continuous and effective protection. The skirts should be made of a durable, weather-resistant material that can withstand the elements and provide adequate shielding from sunlight. Regular inspection should be conducted to verify the integrity of the skirts and to identify any damage or deterioration. Any necessary repairs or replacements should be made promptly to maintain the effectiveness of the protection. In addition to protecting the non-metallic cable from sunlight, the skirts can also provide a barrier against physical damage and moisture. This can further enhance the safety and reliability of the electrical installation. The use of non-metallic cable in outdoor locations is generally permitted by the NEC provided that certain conditions are met. These conditions typically include protection from physical damage, moisture, and sunlight. The specific requirements for outdoor installations may vary depending on the type of cable and the location. It is important to consult the NEC for the specific requirements that apply to the installation. In addition to the NEC, there may be other local codes or regulations that apply to the installation of electrical wiring in temporary construction trailers. It is important to check with the local authorities to determine if there are any additional requirements. The local authorities may have specific requirements for the type of wiring that can be used, the methods of installation, and the types of equipment that can be connected. They may also have requirements for inspections and permits. Compliance with all applicable codes and regulations is essential to ensure the safety of people and property. Failure to comply with these requirements can result in fines, penalties, or even legal action. The installation of electrical wiring in temporary construction trailers is a complex task that requires careful planning and execution. It is important to involve qualified professionals, such as electricians and electrical inspectors, to ensure that the installation is safe, reliable, and compliant with all applicable codes and regulations. Qualified professionals have the knowledge, skills, and experience to properly design, install, and inspect electrical systems. They can also help identify potential hazards and recommend appropriate solutions. Involving qualified professionals can help minimize the risks associated with electrical work and ensure that the installation is done correctly. The decision of whether or not to install non-metallic cable under the temporary construction trailers is ultimately a judgment call that must be made based on a careful assessment of the specific conditions and circumstances. It is important to consider all of the relevant factors, including the NEC requirements, the local codes and regulations, and the potential hazards. It is also important to consult with qualified professionals to get their input and recommendations. The final decision should be made in the best interests of safety and compliance. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, is a comprehensive set of standards that governs the safe installation of electrical wiring and equipment. It is updated every 3 years to reflect the latest technological advancements and best practices in the electrical industry. The NEC is a valuable resource for electricians, electrical inspectors, and anyone else involved in electrical work. It provides detailed guidelines for all aspects of electrical installations, from the selection of wiring and equipment to the methods of installation and the requirements for grounding and bonding. The NEC is organized into chapters, articles, and sections. Each chapter covers a specific topic, such as wiring methods, equipment, or special occupancies. Each article covers a specific type of wiring, equipment, or occupancy. Each section covers a specific requirement or recommendation. The NEC is a complex document, but it is essential for anyone who wants to ensure that their electrical work is safe and compliant with all applicable codes and regulations. The NEC is not a law, but it is often adopted by state and local governments as part of their building codes. This means that compliance with the NEC is legally required in many jurisdictions. The NEC is developed by the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, a non-profit organization that develops and publishes codes and standards for a wide range of fire, electrical, and building-related hazards. The NFPA is a leading source of information and education on fire safety and electrical safety. The NEC is available for purchase from the NFPA and from other vendors. It is also available online through a subscription service. The NEC is a valuable tool for anyone who wants to learn more about electrical safety and to ensure that their electrical work is done safely and correctly. It is important to consult the NEC regularly to stay up to date on the latest requirements and recommendations. The NEC is a living document that is constantly evolving to reflect changes in technology and best practices. By staying informed about the NEC, you can help ensure that your electrical system is safe, reliable, and compliant with all applicable codes and regulations. The installation of non-metallic cable under temporary construction trailers requires careful consideration of several factors. These factors include the NEC requirements, the local codes and regulations, the potential hazards, and the specific conditions of the installation. It is important to consult with qualified professionals to get their input and recommendations. The final decision should be made in the best interests of safety and compliance.